What is up, fam? We're gonna check Eastern religions debunked. This includes Hinduism, Buddhism, and some others. Let's check it out. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Let's go.
I'm often asked to critique Eastern religions like Hinduism and Buddhism in the same way that I've gone after Islam or Mormonism. But really, they're not even in the same category. At least in Islam and Mormonism, you get some historical claims, names, events, and things you can investigate.
Wrong.
Hinduism and Buddhism don't really even give you that. And that makes them a whole lot harder to critique in one sense, but in another way, it makes it easier to dismiss them. There's just really nothing to work with, no historical core, no public miracle, no falsifiable claim holding the whole thing up.
Bunch of trust
Once
me,
you
bro,
really
that's
just strip
crazy.
away all the cultural weight and spiritual branding, what you're left with is a set of philosophies that don't even hold together logically, let alone stand up historically. Let's start with Hinduism. In most versions, everything is ultimately one. Brahman is the only reality, and distinctions between people, actions, and even moral good and evil are just illusions. But when you think about it for just a few moments, that falls apart. If all is one, who's being deceived? If distinctions are illusions, then so is the distinction between truth and falsehood, which really just undercuts the whole system. And karma assumes that there are real moral agents making real choices, but if you're just Brahman and so is everyone else, then who exactly is responsible? Who's being judged? Reincarnation also depends on personal identity,
Right, I get
but if you
that.
don't remember anything and you were never really a distinct self to begin with, then the whole thing is just a meaningless repetition. There's no moral continuity and there's no justice, just an incoherent mess. And Buddhism doesn't really solve the problem, it denies the self entirely. You're not a person with a soul, you're just a temporary bundle of thoughts and sensations. But if that's really true, then who exactly is suffering? Who is the one who's following the Eightfold Path? Who is the one who reaches enlightenment? The entire system presupposes the very thing that it denies. And then on top of that, you're told that desire is the cause of suffering, and that the ultimate goal is to eliminate desire, but that goal is in and of itself a desire. So the
Desire,
whole system is just self-defeating. So even before you get to questions of evidence, both systems are just internally incoherent, putting the prior probability for them being true on the floor. But let's just say for the sake of argument that it does make some sense even if our pea-brains just can't comprehend it all. Then we would ask, what exactly is the evidence? For Hinduism, there are some miracle stories, but they're not tied to actual eyewitnesses. For instance, there's Krishna, one of the most revered avatars of Vishnu. He's said to have lifted a mountain with his finger and multiplied himself to dance with hundreds of maidens all at once, and a lot of other crazy stuff, but these stories come at least 1,000 years after the supposed events with no eyewitnesses. Even more recent miracle workers like Satya Sai Baba have been accused of doing some shady sleight of hand tricks for their so-called miracles, like manifesting watches and rings, and he was accused of being a sexual predator, and he got rich off of his phony miracles. For Buddhism, it's not much better.
Damn.
The Buddha might have actually existed, but the miracle stories like controlling weather or taming elephants show up hundreds of years later. The earliest biographies of Buddha come from 300 to 500 years after his death. There's just no chain of testimony, no public miracle claims that you can verify here. And the weird thing is that most of these faiths don't even pretend to care about logical consistency or historical grounding. If you ask them about contradictions or a lack of evidence, you'll usually just be met with a shrug. That's just Western thinking, they'll say, as if coherence and truth are just cultural preferences instead of universal standards. But if a worldview can't be true in principle or in practice, why should we take it seriously at all? Christianity, on the other hand, makes public falsifiable claims, and it all hangs on a historical event, the resurrection of Jesus. That claim is embedded in multiple early sources. The Gospels give you names, places, and physical resurrection appearances witnessed by groups of people, and I discuss why those documents are trustworthy in other videos. And the apostles were willing to suffer for it, not for some mystical philosophy, but for what they claim to have actually seen. So this is, in a nutshell, why I don't spend my time debunking Hinduism or Buddhism. It's just that both of these systems fail internally, and there's no verifiable historical core to even investigate. So there's just not really much to say. If you find these videos helpful, feel free to check out my Patreon and consider joining. You'll get early access to videos before they come out, be a part.
Guys, I'm gonna put a link to his channel in the description down below so that you guys can check it out. If you do like this kind of content. Okay, so this video was given after I reacted to another video where Hinduism was disproved in 60 seconds, actually 1 minute, right? So it's pretty crazy how it is. Here he is just listing things that might have been listed also in the other video, like it's illogical. Hinduism is illogical. Their teachings they don't make sense. Buddhism as well is illogical. There is no evidence. Their followers don't even care. So I think that's why some people they just prefer it being called a way of life, like mostly about teachings, like it teaches us to do this and how they adjust to life or how it helps them to be better in life or in the societies, right? So as a way of life, it makes more sense because the teachings are really proper. Now, as as a religion, based on what he's saying, there's no evidence, there's nothing that can be we can look back at and say, oh, okay, this happened because of this. And if you follow through with this, it makes more sense, right? So something to back what happened before, like especially with the avatars and everything. Like he's talking about 1 million years before, and these things came way later, but it happened sometime before. So I guess that's where he's coming from. And he's saying that he doesn't want to waste his time debunking this because it's illogical. What do you guys think? What do you guys say? And for those, for Hindus who are watching this, what do you think about this? If you guys know more information when it comes to this, if you go to the comment section, people are just saying, we're supposed to respect other religions, and then they go back and then they spread straight lies about other religions. So I mean, when it comes to respect, of course, we're supposed to respect each other and respect whatever people decide to do and decide to worship. That obviously is cool. Pretty much here, I think it's a channel or is someone who does content like this where he debunks and looks at different religions and try to understand their core values and how it is built, and and he's saying also like just because a religion is old doesn't mean that it's built on strong foundation or something legit, which is actually crazy, but which is also true. It doesn't mean that it's legit just because it's old, right? So I would love to hear what you guys think, and we can have some understanding and some corrections in the comment section, like the previous video. It makes more sense if you can do that. It's constructive criticism for me. I mean, I have an open mind. I like to hear, I like to listen, I like to understand certain things, I like to learn, even though I'm Christian, but I do understand how Hinduism is, Sanatana Dharma. I don't necessarily know the history and all the things that are in there because I'm not really focused on that. But the surface of it, it's not bad, bro. It's not bad. It's how it molds them into the people they are today, how good they are as just a people. So I love that. Anyways, much love to you guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'll be sure to check it out. Take care. Peace.